Hello, entrepreneurs. Hello. Let me just unmute everyone. Hello, guys. Hello.
Hello.
Hi, how are you?
Fun and you?
Good, great. Okay, we have a little bit of glitches, but we're all good. We're ready to start.
Okay.
Great. Anyone wants to introduce themselves while we're accepting more participants? They're just rolling in now. The administrator just accepting a few more minutes. We're gonna need another few minutes.
Okay, I'm Michelle Rourke, and I met you at the Johannesburg Enhance and Evolve.
Did you buy a copy of the book, Michelle?
Not yet, but I'm definitely going to.
No problem. We'll make sure we have a link for you at the end to just order the book. Zenzile, hi. I haven't seen you in ages. From Standard.
Hi.
How are you?
I'm very well, and yourself?
Great, great. Nice to have you.
No, likewise, thanks.
When are you inviting us back at Standard Bank? Hi, Charlotte.
Hi, how are you, Precious?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm good. I'm good.
That's wonderful.
I definitely have my copy here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's wonderful. I'm actually now gonna start. Samson, hi. How are you? Okay, he can't hear me. That's okay. We're gonna start.
Okay.
So basically, we thought instead of having your typical launch, this is better because it's less costly and there's not a lot of resources that has to be actually used, but you can still get in touch with people. And so that is why. And Charlotte, which step are you on now?
Well, since we met 2 weeks ago, I actually haven't started, hey? I'm telling you, I've been extremely busy, and I thought, you know what, after I start with this launch today, I'm gonna go on it.
Okay.
Religiously, so.
No problem. So what I'm gonna try to do is to actually just go through a little bit of summaries and the problem that the book try to solve in each step. Is that okay with everyone?
Yes, no, that's cool.
I also want by attending today's session. You can type it, or you know, when on your chart, you can type it on your chart while I'm trying to share the link that I want us to go through. You can type it on the chat and make it to everyone so that everyone can read your comment. There's someone who just, okay. Sonda, we cannot see you, but we just sing the wall. But it's fine, don't stress. So what do you hope to achieve? Please type in or say them, or I can go start with Michelle or Charlotte. Charlotte is the one that is out. Hi, Charlotte. What do you hope to achieve today?
You know, basically, I'm actually starting my own business, and in 2 years or so, I'll be stopping to work for somebody else. Now, I just want to ascertain whether I'm on the right track when I start my business in terms of being compliant especially with the law, and do the right things. Because I'm not in the finance space. I'm in the HR department, but I just need to align myself with what is required in the finance space for a business.
Ah, wonderful. Thank you so much for sharing. So you're gonna be starting a new business.
Yes.
That is wonderful. Okay, that sounds great. Thank you for sharing, Charlotte. Any other person? Let me just unmute everybody again. Michelle, what do you hope to achieve? Oh, I'm unmuting her, but she's still. Michelle, what do you hope to achieve?
Being in the network marketing industry, you need to be up to date every day with your finances, and obviously background with more info on finances and your financial side of things in the network marketing field.
Okay. That sounds wonderful, Michelle. Absolutely, you're right. When it comes to network marketing, that is where you really have to watch, because generally the margins that you are making are quite small as compared to other businesses, because people are actually buying even the systems. Great. Okay. Great. Anyone else? Zenzile, what do you hope to achieve?
Okay, no, Michelle. So, Precious, from my side, basically, it's just getting to understand, the importance of managing finances, because it's one of items that we overlook in most cases, or underestimate the importance of managing finances. So what I'm looking at is to basically just contextualize the importance of finance, or basically managing the finance and putting the focus on finance.
Perfect. And we commit into learning until our bank account changes, right?
Yeah.
That's true.
Okay, so I'm gonna share. Actually, you can actually go even yourself on preciousmvulane.com. I will go through the key principle of the things that I learned within that. And then in after each step, we'll then discuss and share some ideas, and that will be it. Is that okay?
Yep.
Great. So I am sharing the slide with you. There we go. Can you see the slide? This is my screen.
Yes, I can see it.
Perfect. Okay. Just for the sake of making sure that I don't hear any noise behind, I'm gonna mute everyone so that I do not hear the noise. And then if you have a question that you wanna ask, please unmute yourself also. Oh, mute yourself, not unmute. Mute yourself. I think that is always so that I don't hear the sound if there is a sound behind on your side. So first of all, there are people that have had a first edition of the book. I think, Zenzile, you have a first edition of the book. And from the difference between this current book and the first edition was that the first edition will tell you, you will need to move this bucket of water from point A to point B. The second edition says you will need to move a bucket from point A to point B, but the person who has an ability to actually move this will need to have these habits, this behavior, this character. The book is also more putting things relating to what? To character, mind, and habits, and behavior. Because I had found that people might know what to do, but when they don't have the right attitudes, when they don't have the right mindset, not the right character, they will actually not follow through to make sure that things are done. So on that note, that is the difference in overall. The current book is a little bit thicker because of those. The steps are still exactly the same, but what has changed is putting more stuff relating to personal development. So step one, the purpose of the step is to help you to define how your business is going to achieve your financial goal and what are the things that you will need to actually reaching these goals. And the key actions within that is really be very clear at understanding what is it that I really want. And based on that, you then ask yourself, you know what, the stuff that I want in relation to what I've achieved, am I still dreaming big enough? Am I still looking at the things that I want to achieve as small things or big things? Because the aim for you when you are designing what you want, you have to dream big. You have to come up with really goals that are so big that even your mind is thinking, I cannot believe you just put that. But you have to put those because the goals that are big actually going to stretch you. And you also cannot put any limitations yet because you shouldn't when you're actually designing up your goals and setting them up. You can then also link now, understanding that this business on its own is just a vehicle. So because it's just a vehicle, you need then to build up what is your personal goal? What is it that you want this business to actually change for you or to provide for you and your family? And I'm of a view, this is the most important thing. Most entrepreneurs, they start businesses without actually determining what is their personal financial goals. How much is the minimum amount they need to set up on the standard? Within this book, I even included the budget that you can actually do to actually create for your own so that you end up not putting your hands in the wrong cookie jar. Having your own salary that you're paying every month will also help you to actually discipline you not to take money when you actually have access money. Let me mute the person who just joined us. Also, as you're building up this, you have to understand that the business is only just created for you to achieve the goals that you have desired for yourself. Because if it was not for that, you'd be working for somebody else. Once you have done that, you have to make sure that the financial goals of the business that you have designed are actually SMART. And we all know SMART principle, right? It's called specific, it's measurable, it's attainable, it's reliable, and realistic. In most cases, I will rather don't use realistic, reliable. Reliable in relation to you can quantify. If you have said, for example, my financial goal is going to be sales. My sales will be this number of volume of items at this price. That is reliable. And also it's broken down into little pieces. Maybe if your financial goal is actually working capital, you can then say, this is the minimum amount I need for my working capital, if it's CapEx, and so on. So a financial goal can actually be broken down into different items. As long as you make sure that you don't set your financial goals to be a net effect. A net effect goal could be something like a net profit, a gross profit. Because the reason why you shouldn't use the net effect or a gross profit item is because there's too many variables that can cause those items to either increase or decrease. You want to select a financial goal that is very clear for you to manage. You know exactly how many units you have to sell at what price for which category of your product and services. And then the next step will be to now, what are the reasons? Why do I want this? Why is this so important to me? And that is one of the most important things, because sometimes we set the goals, especially when it relates to finance, and we actually don't stick with them because we don't have enough reasons why we want this. What will it mean for us as individuals in this to actually achieve this goal? How would you feel? How would you want to look like? What will it actually really be like when you have achieved your goals? And that is when now, even when you are doing your visioning, when you have done your goals, you will need to actually vision yourself having achieved that goal. Or if it means maybe seeing a check that is quite big, you can do that too. If it means you're seeing your bank account being at a 1 million or an investment account, you have to somehow be very clear as to the reason why you will need that. And those reasons also have are the things that you really love, and the things that you really care about. Sometimes we put the reasons of the things that you don't really care about as entrepreneurs. You need to put something that you really care about, something that you're not going to give up easily on it. So make sure that your reasons are strong enough, because it is your reasons that will actually help. The other thing also that you now will need to work on is to actually establish where you are. What is your starting point? Based on the financial goals, you might say, I want to make a 5 million on sales. But where are you starting? Are you starting at 1 million? Are you starting at 500,000? If it's 500,000, you're going to increase it by 8 to something like 8 to 5 million. To change. There's several things that you're going to need to change in your business to be able to do what? To achieve that 5 million. And generally, what I would like to advise is not about the amount that you want to achieve. It's about understanding that the strategies is what matters. So if you have said, I want to make a 5 million, your strategies have to actually be the one that direct you that, is it realistic for you to achieve the 5 million? It's never about the 5 million, it's about what are the strategies that you're actually going to work on to achieve those goals. And sometimes developing strategies also is very much linked to what do you understand about your industry? Do you understand the nature of the business you're in? Are you in a volume business or are you in a pricing business? If you're in a volume business, for example, you really have to drive a strategy that helps you to have a reach, have a number of people that you are reaching. Then you actually are building on strategies that are about growth, that are about volume. But if you're in a business that is maybe one item that will mean 100,000 in one go, in one invoice or in one transaction, then you could actually then understand that you have to go very niche, focus on a specific target and make sure there's a market penetration and a very specific target approach on that. You then have to build up also the monitoring of your goals consistently and making sure that you're accountable and coachable. I guess I cannot say that to you guys, you're already in a program like this, attending a training that, so therefore you're already coachable, but also be accountable. That is very important. So whatever that you're doing in a business, you are somehow having structures that allow you to be able to question how you're doing things for you to be able to make it better. Within the book, I've provided several things, 5 questions to help you determine your needs and help you to determine your standard of living. In addition to that, also about 6 ways that you can solve the problems when you cannot develop strategies. We've provided also about 9 things that can help you to actually achieve your goals, that you have to do to achieve your goals. 8 ways to determine, to help, to be able to hold yourself accountable. And also some things that I have used where I replace my fears about things with faith. And the last one is about 4 things that you can change to start getting the result that you want. I will stop there. We are planning to add up more templates. We've already added the action list. We've already added the goal setting template and also personal budget mastery, where you are actually having the whole monthly and annually for your personal budget, but also just a template that you can do where you are doing your 100 things of the things that you want. I will stop there for now and unmute everyone. And hello to everyone that has joined. I'm going to just unmute everyone so that we can just discuss what are the things that you guys would like to ask on your on step one. What are the things that you have learned that you would like to share, and we can take it from there. I'm just unmuting everyone right now. Hi, Lynn. Okay, guys, those who have, do you guys have any question?
So far, so good for me.
Perfect. Anyone who has any question from what I've covered?
Hi.
I'm still good from my side.
Great. Okay, guys, I'm just going to leave it. It's just too much work to unmute everyone all at once. I'm just going to leave it and
Can
hope
you hear me, Precious?
Hello?
Hi, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
So I came in a bit late because I hadn't downloaded Zoom. So you were saying we are coachable. Is that what does coachable mean?
So when I say coachable, are you someone who's teachable? Are you someone who can actually open your ears when someone is saying, you know what, you should consider doing 1, 2, 3? And we do find that sometimes is the most difficult thing for entrepreneurs. We are so used to be the one who actually comes up with lots of things. And when you do have someone who's there to guide you, or even giving you some pointers, we tend to close our ears. And that is what I mean when I say, are you coachable? Are you actually teachable to be able to learn?
Thank you, because I want to go through the handbook and understand if we're coachable and we put our trust in someone like you, will there be a bottom line shift, and will we be able to create more markets, and will we be able to create a wider ecosystem to penetrate new markets?
So generally, our platform is more about allowing people to actually learn tools or that will enable them to actually action things. So let's just relate that into a coachable. So for example, we will say things like the principle number 1, money principle number 1 says pay yourself first. As an entrepreneur, we generally do not pay ourselves first, right? We pay everyone, employees and suppliers. Before we know it, we are employed, but we are employed by our suppliers and our employees. We are no longer even self-employed. So as entrepreneurs, we need to grow ourselves and understand that you have to pay yourself first and learn to actually be disciplined enough that you come first. Because when you do that, you will know what is your worth. When you do that, you will know that when you're negotiating with people, you're negotiating with a confidence of who you are and the price that you are charging. Because if you don't, you're more likely to be scrabbling and more likely to be doing what? Undercut, because you're too desperate. So the platform of the things that we're doing here is helping you to actually have those tools to enable you to be able to actually do those things without feeling actually, no, I can't charge this, no, my pricing that. We are actually really advising you that you should actually make sure that you charge what you are worth. And sometimes it's difficult, even the paying yourself. The first 2 years for me was difficult to be able.
Oh gosh, it's unmute.
Thought, no fear. Whatever comes after that, we will work it out. We'll figure it out. If it means I'm calling my suppliers and saying, you know what, I don't have it now, I'm going to give it in 5 days, I would rather do that.
Thank you. That helps me to be disciplined and to inwardly focus. I think that's important.
Absolutely, yes, because we tend sometimes to focus mainly on customers and our suppliers and our employees. Okay, great. Step number two is also just about now you have a clear financial goal that you have set yourself up. You then now are saying, you know what, I now. And most entrepreneurs, when they go through this, by then they have not even understand this, and I'm happy that Charlotte has not even registered a business. You would rather actually not register a business until you have done step 2, because the main of step 2 is to basically ask yourself, based on the goal that I want to achieve, what will it take for me to achieve this goal? What resources, what skill set am I looking for that will actually help me to be able to do what I have set myself to do, which is on step 1. And there is nobody else in your business who's more important than you. So it's going to start with you. Understand and know yourself. What type of person am I? Am I someone who actually has a strength in this or weakness in this, so that when you go into the market to look for people that are actually what? The people that are you. And it's also about you taking that understanding of yourself and ask yourself, if your weakness is the following, for example, with me, I can't sell a shoe, So if that's the case, how then should I build my I will not be able to be sell naturally. So what does that mean? It also means I then have to educate myself about selling. I then have to put myself out there and so on. So, and the main aim of knowing yourself is so that you know what is negotiable for you, what is not negotiable for you. It's also knowing yourself can help you to select the right partners and the right even shareholders and even stakeholders that are going to be actually helping you to actually build up this business. The next step will also be about clean up your mess. So cleaning up your mess is basically, we know in our lives there are things that we have not been doing right. We constantly have to work on cleaning up the mess. And for example, in my life, I have lots of files just lying around, lots of files. So cleaning up of your mess does not have to be an event. It's just a continuous things. And sometimes cleaning up the mess can also be about picking up a phone and apologizing to someone because maybe you have not done something that is right with somebody else. So cleaning up a mess is fixing what you think needs to be fixed. And that's all that is. I also have decided about, I've always been someone who's always a straight talker, who say exactly what I think. But over the years, I've tended to actually just keep quiet about certain things. You feel like maybe you're just too much and maybe you should withhold. I decided about 2-3 months ago that, you know what, if I feel like saying something and that thing that I want to say will build that person and will make that person to be a better person, it's okay. At the expense, maybe that person for that time may not understand, or at that time may not actually feel well about it. My intention is to build, so it's okay. So those are the things that cleaning up your mess is about. It's about, are you living to your true self? Are you living to what your conscience is telling you need to work on or not? Because the more you leave those things to be a mess, not to be sorted out, they end up getting bigger and bigger and bigger. And then you wonder why things are not working out for you, because you fail to deal with small little things. The next step also will be now choose the role that complements you, that complements your talents and your skills. And again, do you know what are your skills? Do you know what are your talents? How do you find out what are your best talents? What is it in your community when you are at your home and they say, so and so, don't touch that until so and so comes? What are the things that when your friends are around and you are not there, they said, we miss you so and so because of 1, 2, 3? Because those are the things that you need to pay attention to. It doesn't have to be core or technical skill. It could be just your personality. It doesn't have to be a core skill. Again, though, you have to understand that within South Africa, there is 4 common business structures that you can build. And those I have included advantages and disadvantages on the book. Generally, those will be what? The sole propriety, the closed corporation, the PTY LTD, and also a listed company. We have noted that in most, people are no longer able, actually people are not able to register any CC anymore. So you automatically have to register for PTY, but there are people who are selling closed or corporation which are old. That doesn't really make any difference, because in terms of the Treatment of Companies Act, you will still need to comply with Companies Act, even though your business is a closed corporation. I have put disadvantages and advantages in relation to income tax, in relation to your personal resources, but also I have included, I think it was what? Tax implication, legal structures, what is required. For example, if you are opening up, you're going to start a sole property, you will need to have what? A will. You will need to make sure that you somehow work out a plan with your other half if you are married in commute of property, because what will happen is that the legal risk of that business automatically affect the individuals that you are partners to or that you are married to. Anyway, but there is more details that I have provided there. As I said, you also have to understand it in relation to tax and legal compliance between the arrangement of the owners, including the financial requirements in size and growth plan. Based on your financial goal, you should be be able to say, in the next 5 years, this structure will be fine, but maybe in 20 years' time, which would be a listed company. But my suggestion is that build it with the end in mind, but start small. You can always convert a business from one layer of a structure to another. It's pretty easy in South Africa. I've also included the key leadership traits that will help you to be successful. And I've also somehow indicated which structures will suit industry best and that I generally mostly use. And I hope I'm going to stop there and hear if there's anyone who has questions on those principles, and we can take it from there. I'm going to just unmute everyone now.
So, Precious, I have a question, right?
Yes, ma'am.
So especially regarding knowing yourself, right? Now you've done that self-introspection and you understand yourself and your skill sets. Now my question is then, how do you then leverage on other people's skill sets whereby you are lacking as an individual?
The best way of leveraging yourself is to actually, when you are looking for your shareholders or partners, look for people who have skills that you actually do not have. But, oh my goodness, someone is talking. Come on. Let me just unmute everyone again. I know. Oh my goodness. Okay. I'm unable to mute everyone. Okay, I'm unable to mute this person, no matter what I do. It's so difficult. Okay, guys, I'm gonna have to unmute everyone. Perfect. That's much better. Please unmute yourself because I cannot. So, and Zenzile, my suggestion will be, when you know what are your skill set, what are your weaknesses, what are your talents, you can then leverage by choosing the people that have the skill set that you do not have. And that's the best way of doing it. And to an extent, I generally say to people, before you go to partnership with anyone, get their CVs, consolidate them so that you can start looking at what a business functions that that person can play based on that before people choose for themselves. so that you allocate them according to their experiences, according to what they actually have done before, to reduce the risk of you having people that do not have an experience in the areas that actually you need to help most with. And when you have done that, you can then have a contractual arrangement that set up a willing to actually invest in, and how would you actually manage that? Because from that you are able to see what is their contribution over that period of time of whatever that you guys are intending to do. And that is how you will leverage. But treat it about you just didn't meet them the first day and say, let's go and get married, did you? So it's the same thing. It's the same thing with marriage. You will need to actually somehow have a cool-off period with someone whom you are getting to an investment or partnership arrangement over a period of time, at least minimum of 6 months. And you can even put that even in the shareholders agreement. After 6 months, finalize everything then.
Yeah.
Okay, no, thank you, Precious.
Thank you so much. Any other question?
Precious, it's Charlotte. Does it have to be a partnership though, or can you buy the skill or outsource it?
Yeah.
Absolutely, you can definitely buy the skill.
Yeah.
It doesn't have to be acquired through partnership or through shareholders. I generally make an example for me. I don't have partners in terms of shareholders, but I still have mentors and coaches around me that I call on regular basis. So resources does not mean it's warm bodies in shareholders or directors. You could have to pull yourself out, put yourself around people who have the skill set that you are looking for or the skill set that you are lacking.
Associates as well.
Absolutely, you can call them associates. You can call them coaches or mentors. You can even call them partners.
Well, yeah.
Yeah. So yes, depending on how big you want to grow your business and what leverage do you have with them, I have found that when there is a financial incentives, they are more prone to act quicker on opportunities. So you're going to have to figure out what will work for each individual. I mean, others I don't pay, others I see them every 3 years, others I see them once a year, others I just talk to them when I need to. So a structure basically is creating a team, a framework on how you're going to grow your business, how you're going to grow your this venture that you are working on without you pulling out a whole load on your own. Cool. Okay, perfect. Let's move on to step number 3. So from building up your business structure, it automatically selects the obligations that you actually are going to be expected to fulfill in terms of our basic legal framework. On the book, Charlotte, especially for you, since you're the one who's a little bit freaked out about compliance. Go to page 61 of the book.
Okay.
On page 61 of the book, I have created a 1-pager of how your compliance will look like.
Okay.
Where you understand that your first part as an organization, either it's Companies Act or close corporation or cooperatives. And please note, those who are running a business trust, you will need to register with what? Department of Justice. And your lawyer can actually arrange on how that will actually work out.
Okay.
And then you, in terms of what? Income tax and value-added tax. So, and that income tax is also highly based on what? Based on the Tax Administration Act. So if you have not submitted things to SARS, the Tax Administration Act will actually come in. Now, for income tax, you are charged based on the income that you have generated minus the expenditures that relates into what? Into that expense or into that income that you have earned. And that is how SARS will calculate what? The taxable income. They will say gross income that I've made minus deductions, which is what are the things that I've spent to actually be able to generate the revenue I'm doing. That gives what? A taxable income. Please be mindful that the taxable income will not take into account when you have broken the law. For example, if you have been charged penalties and interest, maybe you have traffic fines, those are not tax deductible. So anything that is deductible is anything that is relating to you paying for generating the revenues that you want to, that you have actually set in your financial goal. So what I have noticed, Michelle, she's still here, she's gone. Most network marketing, they actually do not account for this properly in making sure they account for all the things that they're actually expanding when they're actually building up their businesses. And then the next part on obligation. You are joining your business, you join your business as a director. You are already there for an employee. Your business is an employer to you because you and your business are separate two legal entities. So again, a Department of Labor will kick in with close to 6 to 7 legislation that come in. Companies Act will not come in at all because you're dealing with the employee. It's only income tax and the EIF and skills development levy. Again, tax administration will come in. If you have not submitted your MP201 every 2 months, they will charge you penalties of 10% and the interest that is determined by the minister every 6 months.
Yeah.
So yes, the compliance, Charlotte, gets to be overwhelming when you now move again to be a trader, because again, there's additional more requirements in terms of that, Credit Act, Consumer Protection Act, FICA, and so on, and POPI, and so on. However, what I've tried to do in the step 3, Charlotte, you have a checklist at the end. And as I'm mentioning and taking you through this legislation, I've done some executive summaries for you to get started.
Okay.
And that will help you out. I mean, if you just read that step and then later only use your checklist at the end that start from page 118, you will be perfectly fine. At least for the next 3 years.
Okay.
Yes. So that is basically it on the obligations. There is a lot of checklists and things that are included on that, including fundamentals of consumer rights, the unfair business practice, and a whole list of things that are required that you must have in place for VAT. And I also included what are the key 13 documents that you have to keep in terms of Companies Act that at least you will need to keep at least for 7 years, and others are indefinite. So that is what is required by the legislation. We will be loading additional more items for templates for you. The guys are still just finalizing them. Please just stay tuned. We'll let you know on our newsletter when we have loaded everything. I'm available to take questions. Charlotte, you feel overwhelmed? I can.
No, I'm fine. I'm fine. No, I'm fine. I'm not that blank. I'm okay.
And now, don't worry. You have enough for at least to last you another 3 years.
Yeah, yeah.
You're a generous sharer. You're so precise. I'm delighted to be working with you in the next year. And, so you're talking and you're giving us a masterclass on business essentials.
Yeah.
Precious.
Mm.
I'm
And
trying to.
and then you spoke about bringing in the right skill sets. And then you spoke about deferring excellence to those who will take you the furthest in your network. And then you spoke about compliance. So holding me to account to compliance and, putting value in my network is something I've learned from you. What I'm excited about in the power of digital is to have you listen to a subject matter expert. So I'm going to hold you to account. You are fabulous. I'm sick and tired of listening to Oprah. I'm sick and tired of listening to Jada Pinkett Smith and everybody else. I want to be able to use my airtime and my data to learn from African excellence. Do you mind if we do that, Precious? Would you give me the opportunity to do that?
We can definitely do that. There's any question as to how they think, because as I said, it's a lot of information on the step. Read the information through and then use the checklist to guide you of what are the things that you have to do on monthly basis, quarterly basis, and also annual. Is that entrepreneurs, is that okay?
Yeah.
Yep,
Yes.
that's great.
Yes.
Great.
Vanessa, let's see your face.
Kumi, I'm tweeting about Precious because she's my client. I've converted her to a client. Let's talk about this. Because we have foresight planning. And I'm already thinking Precious. I've managed to get her Precious today in a French magazine, and I've managed to get her on a couple of platforms for next year. Because sometimes someone like Precious is so precious that if we convert more mindsets, we can grow our businesses.
Yeah, no, that's true.
And she's packed in such a punch with putting the essential handbook together. And she's a perfectionist, so I've been studying her the last few days. And when you hear her speak, it's this kind of transformation we need in the economy to help. Do you guys agree?
No, true.
And I'm learning so much, especially about the
time a bit. I'm gonna just also mute everyone again, what I did the other time, so that I can just run through the information.
Quickly before you do that, Precious, if you don't have money for the skill sets,
right,
and you don't want somebody a partner, and you don't want them a resource,
right,
and down the line they're gonna cripple you, but you need their genius.
Right.
How do you manage that?
Okay, so you can actually barter your skill set to them.
But if they're hustling like you are and cash flow is the optimal,
partner with them and make an arrangement and say, you know what, I need your skill set. I do not have the money right now, but I know in 12 months time I should. Can you give me a value? Then that you owe them is the.
Okay, thank you.
That they have given you. So you can definitely do it.
And a 12-month period is respectable. It's not slave wages or slave time.
No, the person is willing to say yes or no, or you can then negotiate.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. Let me unmute everyone if I can. Okay, I've muted everyone. Okay, it doesn't allow me to. Okay, because I'm hearing some noises behind.
Yeah, guys, we can mute ourselves.
Oh, okay, mute yourself, please, so that I don't hear there's a funny noise coming through. Guys, I really love this. This part is my favorite step. When we're just, because most entrepreneurs, when you ask them about what's happening with your finances, they generally will say something of outsourced finance. And then you look at them, say, please God help them. Because we don't understand as entrepreneurs that actually, I will show you a diagram. Maybe actually that would be easier. Let me just find a diagram for you. Where is it? Top. 1 second. I'm just gonna get a diagram that I'm gonna open, and just that is gonna allow me to be able to explain this in a more simpler way. Just Charlotte, you have a book with you. Those who have a book, you can go to step 4. I will tell you which page. You can go, Charlotte, you can go to page 123. Those who have a book, page 123. Okay, I'm opening it just now. Just give me a few more minutes, 1 more minute. Page 123. I'm just going through it. Okay, there we go. Can you guys see that screen?
Mm-hmm.
As a round.
Yes.
Can I make it? Oh, that's too small, right? That is too small for you guys.
Yeah.
Okay, maybe I can go to 125. No, it's still not looking good. Let's go back to the page. Let's go to it. I will. So let's just look here. In finance, we basically talk about a creation or a study of money. That's what finance is. Either it's banking, investment, but we generally are talking in a very big scope, because finance can be in public finance, like in government, or corporate financing, or even in personal financing. But generally in finance, we have those categories. But what we also have to understand, within finance, there are macro and microeconomic factors that affect you in running and making certain decisions. And when you are in a business, you make these decisions in relation to what? To corporate finance. Corporate finance has 3 decisions: dividends, investing, and financing. And financial management is about the day-to-day running of the financial operation in achieving your goals. Remember the goals that you set on step 1? That's what is financial management is about. It's a managing of resources on day-to-day to achieve those goals. And then the second last line is what? It's accounting. Hang on, financial management. Financial management is the next one after corporate finance. Financial management, I said, it's mainly day-to-day. Now, accounting is actually summarizing the transactions that relates into financial management, that relates to corporate finance, and also relate to finance at a micro level, i.e. whatever that is affecting the world, the country, and your industry. Bookkeeping is the last bit of it. It's the smallest of all the cycles. That is where we're actually doing what? Recording the transaction. So as an entrepreneur, when you're saying, I have outsourced finance, do you realize that the only thing that you have basically outsourced is bookkeeping and accounting? You have not outsourced the day-to-day running of your business. You have not outsourced your decision-making. You've also not even looked at the influence the macroeconomic factors have in your business. So if there's anything I want to discuss today on step 4, let's just be clear. What exactly have we outsourced? We've outsourced a summarization of the financial statements and reporting on financial statement, but we have not outsourced the decision making. I hope entrepreneurs, based on what I've just outlined now, you can have a better understanding of the differences between those, so that you understand that when someone is asking you in general in finance, you should be talking about in general. How are you doing in relation to the following? Let's take this one. I think, again, Charlotte, you have a book in front of you. You will go to page, which will include the link for the order. So this, you make decision in relation to your income statement and your balance sheet. The decisions that you make in finance, they all relate to either are you making money, i.e. generating money, or you spending the money. And the difference between making money and spending it will give you either loss or income. Balance sheet, are you owning the asset less the debt? That gives you what? The net worth. So all decisions that are made from finance to corporate finance to financial management, even as you're building up, they mainly are structured in a way that you will be able to summarize your transaction into those 4 components. And basically, in principle, that's all you need to be able to understand in financial concept when it comes to understanding the basic principle of financial, just financial concept that matters to you as an entrepreneur. I will take questions for now. 1 second, and me unmute everyone again. Done. Okay, guys, I have unmuted everyone. If there's anyone who has any questions in relation to what I've just covered now.
I don't like this part at all. It's because you assume we are normal entrepreneurs and we are able to function. You know, it's like, how? You normalize in finance, it doesn't exist.
Let me say this. If you have decided to be an entrepreneur, you've decided to be a businesswoman or a businessman, finance is a language of business. If there's any language you need to understand, this is the language you cannot miss.
It's a blind spot for some of us. We in denial.
So any questions? I honestly want to just get a gist of it. Okay, what does it mean to be in finance? So when I'm talking about microeconomic factors, I'm basically talking about inflation, unemployment, socioeconomic factors. All those things do impact you, direct or indirect. You need to be in a position to react and respond to those things in your business. I think all of you are just intimidated to ask.
We don't like this one.
This is the part you have to understand, because this is the part that's going to make you to be economically active. This is the part that when you're listening to the Minister of Finance or anyone talking about economic policy, talking about forecasting, this is what you're going to be listening to, because you're going to begin to understand this in such an extent that you start planning and strategizing your business for the next 3 years. And stop.
Does your handbook equip us to do this?
It's going to try. I have tried. Okay, so one of the things I said in the book, I said the first thing you need to understand the world of finance. The next thing you need to understand, first and act as an investor. Some of you get into business without actually understanding you are an investor first. And today I have asked you several questions. I say, how do you contribute into your business? Is it money or skills or both? How much is really required? By the way, some of you, I look at your books, there's nothing on the shareholders loan account, there's nothing on the share capital, but yet you have spent years onto this business. And then the other one is, how long would I need to actually invest into this business? what is the expected minimum return on investment? If I had put this business and put money and time into another business, how much I would have received as a return on investment? The last one, what was the opportunity cost? Opportunity cost. What is that opportunity cost? Yes, I do attempt to actually show, and I even have examples on page 125 throughout the whole page actually on that. That is where I'm trying to explain the principle of understanding those things. But yeah, there's a whole list of things. I even mentioned several money principles. I see a lot of entrepreneurs going around looking for funding without an investment. You cannot find funding when there is no investment. Investment comes, then funding comes later. What is the investment? What is the value that you are bringing onto this business?
Yeah, but you could be having a beautiful concept, Precious. You know, with us, we struggle to have money, to actually save money, let alone have money. It's a struggle to save money. So if you expect, I know that you have to show commitment as an investor, but you know, there are times when you really need to borrow and you don't have your own investment.
Okay, so this principle of you accounting for your time and the money that you're investing has nothing to do with whether you have the money or not. I'm talking about the money that you yourself are putting into the business. The fact that you are waking up early in the morning to work on this business, that is money into that business.
Yeah, the sweat.
How are you accounting it for it on the books? And the time that you're putting in this business, have you converted that time to be some sort of a value? That is what, because you account for your time, you'll be able also to account for the money that you are putting in.
Yeah.
And it's gonna start with you, no employees, you. Okay, so any other question on this? It's a lot of information that I've provided you, but the aim was to get you to plan for activities and resources, was also to understand what would actually be things that you can create and do. I've also provided you the example of the things that I had done to actually use and understand and build up. And that is also based on my business of what I've done. So whatever that I'm talking about on there, it's mostly just sharing what has worked for me, because as I've said, I've run about 3-4 businesses that didn't do so well, but yet I've been studying since I was 14 years old. So yeah, so be it about our education system.
Okay.
Can I move on to the next step?
Yeah.
Yes, okay.
Thank you so much. Okay, so now on step 5, you now have set up exactly that. Let me share again. The system is. Guys, can you see my screen now? I think you've lost my screen.
Yeah.
We can see, but we can't see the slide.
Oh,
Yeah, now it's back.
Yeah.
Can you see it now? Okay, great. Okay, so one of my biggest frustration when I actually started my business 7 years ago, entrepreneurs could not really got me frustrated, because they then did not know what value I actually have to bring in the market. As a result, I had a friend who got to pay for someone who had said they were auditors. When I looked at her report, the people were not even auditors, and she didn't even know the difference. So you have to know what are the difference of people that are involved in financial reporting. And in this, I try by all means to provide you the different types of financial reporting that you're supposed to have, and make sure that also within that, what are the responsibilities of the directors in relation to the content, and also how do you also manage those responsibilities. And I hope by that it will help you to determine who's the right person, who's qualified to actually help you to actually achieve your financial reporting. And some people do not know and understand the difference between independent reporting, compilation, audited financial statements, and even something like is called agreed upon procedures. On the book, I've outlined those in more detail. Okay, how am I gonna do that? I need to mute everyone again. Okay, guys, are there any question? Who has struggled in understanding? Oh, you guys don't care. You can pay anybody. What? Hello? Am I loud? Okay. Guys, any comments on that, on understanding the key role players?
How do I see the video?
Okay, guys, let me continue and finishing off on the last two steps. Those are the easiest, the last two steps. Once you understand how to actually understand these reporting requirements, you can then be able to design certain controls that are going to help you.
What? Oh, sorry.
Hello, guys, just mute yourself.
Yeah, let me mute my.
I've just muted Vanessa. Okay. So design financial controls and system. Again, I think sometimes we think too far or too much about financial controls. Financial controls is also about understanding what could go wrong. What are the things that are common risk in a specific process in how you are managing things? And then you put those measures through. There's certain risk that you will retain, there's certain risk that you will share with third parties. The risk that you share, the risk that you share with third parties are generally the risk like credit risk. You can share those with third parties. There are other risks like what? You can share credit risk. You can share forex risk. You can share, there's several type of risk that you can cover, that you can pass to third party, because you will have done everything in your power, but the risk is still not at the acceptable rate. But about also designing your financial controlling system is also about understanding your management accounts. What is your actual versus your budget? Are you checking what's the reason? Why did we have that difference in that month? How can we actually make sure we improve and work on it? I.e., we're analyzing these accounts and create policies and procedures that are actually helping us to achieve our goals. So designing controls is not difficult. It's very easy. And on the book, I am trying by all means to give you some sort of a framework on where would you start in building up the financial controls and systems. Generally, as you will look at things like the filing system, something as easy as filing system, building up what is your role, how do you do your control environment, how do you improve on those controls, how do you manage the information and monitor activities. And I also cover specific controls under finance, and that comes from page 180 up to page 183. And I love what is also on page 182, where I start actually asking you specific questionnaires that you can do as the exercise to help you to assess the accounting financial controls. I think that would be very useful for you so that you begin to understand the key risks that could be existing in your business that you are not aware of. The second last part also, I've created some sort of a master file that you can create, which is a permanent file of a filing system on page 185 that you can set up. With everything that we have with the cloud, you can actually create folders according to those things and re-reference them, those according to those numbers. And page 188 is having the yearly file that you will create that has your monthly financial reports from management accounts to bank to customers, suppliers, payroll, stock, and tax administration file. And that will allow you to be able to and programs for your approaches and things in relation to creating systems on controls. So I hope with that you can kind of have an idea, because some of us are generally operating at a very bad situation. I'm going to show you something which is one of my favorite things that I usually teach in class. Let me just open it up. This is basically a thing that we talk about when we are saying that most entrepreneurs, they operate, can you see this? Guys, can you see this? Hang on. Okay. Can I hear someone? Let me unmute you guys now. Because I need to make sure that you guys can see this that I'm sharing now.
Mm-hmm.
Can you see this? The
Yes.
DI.
Yes, we can see.
Yes, we can see it.
This is, by the way, from Robert Kiyosaki, where he teaches us and tells us that you work for money, right? And I generally say to entrepreneurs, even us as entrepreneurs, we generally are employed. Because we work for our employees, we work for our suppliers, and we don't pay ourselves. So we're not even self-employed, we're still employed. So we need to start changing and moving from E to self-employed with an aim that we're gonna move ourselves to what? To passive income, which is where most network marketing businesses are at, business and big business. So where you are about to actually look at how to set up what? Systems. So the financial controls and systems will help you to build up and work through to build up the system, especially for finance. Oh, people are making noise again. Let me mute them. Okay, I've muted everyone. Just send to the chat the comments on on a chat. I will respond to you guys as soon as I'm finished with the presentation. So if we can actually learn to understand that for us to move from having a job in our businesses, we first have to pay ourselves first. That moves us to be what? To be self-employed. But from that, we now start building systems. And when we build systems, we then move ourselves to be what? Business owners. And we're getting ourselves to be ready to what? To be investors. Because now we're able to do what? The money works for us. We're building what? Passive income. And that is how you can use building of systems and processes to achieve that in a finance function. Okay, let me unmute everyone. Any questions? Entrepreneurs, are you still here? Any questions?
Yes, we're still here.
Good. Good. Okay. So, are there any questions?
I think I'm good.
Okay. So, someone. Okay. Then. Okay. Fine. I've got some questions that someone was saying. Tax issues are a nightmare. They traumatize you. Don't worry. We will take. By just having the checklist, it will help you to manage it. I think that was Charlotte. There was someone who said, what are the common skills that a business can not function without? Let me mute everyone again. Thank you so much. So the question that has been just asked by someone, what are the key common skills that a business cannot function without? I'm of a view that any business, no matter which industry it belongs, the first skill that you cannot do without is a selling skill. So a key, and that's a skill number one. Skill number two is management of finance. And skill number three that you cannot live without, that if you don't have that one, that's it. Your ability to manage your operation. So your management skills in here. I hope I'm able to answer. I'm also typing it. Your ability to manage operation, which is your core business. If you fail on those three, you are guaranteed you will fail. And I think that helps. Okay, can I take questions? I'm gonna unmute everyone again. Any questions, entrepreneurs? Are we ready?
I'm fine.
You're fine. Okay.
Yep, I'm also good.
I think I answered the wrong person there. Oops. I hope that. Okay. I'm just pasting the comment that I sent to that person. Oh, okay. I think to everyone. I did type it, Gallery J Prime. I don't know, but I sent it to Senzile. Senzile, can you share it with everyone? Copy and paste it and share it with everyone. Okay, guys, we're on the last one. This is also one of my favorite steps. The goals that we have actually intended to have when we're setting up our system. I love this because that is where we say the numbers are talking, basically. Let's just go through it. This is also about called interpretation of financial statements. We have found that most entrepreneurs struggle with this one because their financial statements is not set right. So you find that majority of businesses, they actually struggle with profitability, especially in the first 2-3 years of the business. But after that, they never catch up. They are so used to being a survival and unable to change their strategies. Within that 3 years, the business had to shut down and the person has to start all over again in another business. So my suggestion for any of you is that when you're setting up a chart of account with your accountant, set them as a management accounts, and then after that, work through and analyze your financial statements on continuous basis. And those who are in project, check profitability every time you're signing up a contract. Because if you do that, you are then guaranteed that your business will be profitable if you're making sure that every project, every contract is actually profitable. The other part is about leveraging your net worth in building up also your growth in relation to where do I get money? How do I finance this while it still does not look like it's actually attractive? The best way of doing is find other people that are already doing something other than that are doing something in relation to your industry. You partner with them. while I understand that working with people is difficult, but one thing I can promise you, you cannot do this thing on your own. You do need people to help you. Figure out what structure will work for you, and find out how you can partner and collaborate with other people to grow you, to help you to actually be a stronger person. The other part that I would like you to pay attention on is called utilization of assets. I've seen this with so many entrepreneurs where they go around and say, I'm looking for financing of an asset, or I want to buy the equipment. When you start, not justify any investment, which means as an entrepreneur, you have to start first by maybe outsourcing your manufacturing or outsourcing that equipment before you can actually say, I am now going to buy equipment. Until you have reached the maximum capacity, or you have a potential order that will reach the maximum capacity of that equipment capacity, you can then buy that, because there's an indication that you have what? A return on investment. Another thing that entrepreneurs do not pay attention to is to understand that when you are getting an equipment, you will finance by using something called asset financing. Asset financing, you must be able to demonstrate that you're going to be able to repay back the capital plus the interest. Again, as I said, when you are leveraging, other entrepreneurs do not understand that the short-term versus long-term investment has to be matched at all times, all the time. You can't say, I'm looking for funding, and you want to fund, you asking for a long-term loan, and yet you're going to fund operation. That's a working capital problem. That's a cash flow problem. So as an entrepreneur, understand the difference between a working capital and a cash flow, how it works, and also understand how does asset financing work, so that when you are looking at assets that you want to raise, you are clear that there is a clear demonstration on the return on investment. So that's it on me on financial evaluation and assessment, and pay attention to the figures during the year, not at the year end. At the year end, it's too late to fix problem. Continuously be checking and working through it. I'm of a view that if you do that, you are more likely to understand and be able to be more. And I'm going to unmute everyone again. And any comments? We are closing now. Any questions? I can see there's some chat questions here. Please send them through. Any questions on financial analysis? So if you were to understand financial analysis, it's mainly just understanding your profitability, your asset utilization, and your liquidity. That's the most important thing as an entrepreneur that you need to worry about. Is my assets that I have generating the income? Is the income that I'm making covering up my expenditures? Am I able to make profit, or am I making a loss? If I'm come out of that, am I increasing my price, or am I increasing my volume, or am I diversifying altogether and changing my business? Please go ahead. Any questions? I'm still here.
Nothing. I'm good. I'm good, honestly.
Okay, perfect. Guys, should you have any other question, or you need us to actually assist in any way, we're just a phone call away. We will be running regular webinars for people that saying, you know what, I want to learn more. I want to continuously work on it. I'm struggling precious with this. Those are open to everyone. We are also having coaching session with entrepreneurs that are saying, Precious, I've never read financial statements. I don't even know what it means, but I've signed them. We help you to actually read the stuff and understand what it means so that you can make an informed decisions.
Okay, we'll spread the word.
No problem. We're right here. Guys, thank you so much for your time. Zenzile,
Thank you.
I shall see you when I come to Mpumalanga.
No, thanks to you. Thanks to you, Precious.
Guys, and again, drop us an email. I'm gonna send an email to everyone where you guys will have our email. So you can go to jdcs.co.za. You can go to Finance Success for whatever information. We are here to help you understand your finances so that you take control of it. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.